Welcome back to Yoga on a Roll, a special park edition. Today we are going to be walking you through some good stretches to get into the splits. So we're going to start in a forward fold at the front of our mat. So take your feet nice and wide, bend the knees, and just really work into this. So maybe even grab opposite elbows, gentle sways from side to side. And really just think about pulling that tailbone up towards the sky. So all these stretches I'm going to walk you through are to help open up the hips. We want to stretch out all sides of that hip so that we can get deep into our splits. You can hold these stretches for longer than I give you permission to and use them daily to get deeper into your splits. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead, take our feet mat width distance wide, toes out, heels in, and sink it down for a Malasana Yogi squat. Use the elbows to pull the knees out nice and wide. Sink the hips down and just kind of open up the hips here. On your next exhale, let's plant the hands, come into a tabletop position. And I'm going to have you come into frog. We're starting off real harsh. So maybe you turn sideways on your mat. And you're going to bring your knees out wide. Toes are going to point out. And you can stay up onto your hands or you can even drop down onto your elbows. Use your exhales to sink the hips nice and deep here. You can kind of shift forwards and backwards slightly, see where you feel any good spots, and just kind of hold there. Always just be nice and gentle with your movements. When you're ready, let's come up onto the hands, slowly bring the knees back together, and let's find a tabletop position. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, and find a downward facing dog. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Pedal out the feet here like you did in your forward fold. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And again, think about really pulling that tailbone up towards the sky. Let's inhale the right leg nice and high. Stack the hips, bend the knee, open it up. Really stay sturdy in both hands, equal weight. And then let's take the right foot, step it all the way in between our hands. Drop the left knee down, untuck the left toes. We're going to straighten through the right leg. Pull the toes back towards the forehead. And then exhale, relax the upper body over that front leg. If you need blocks here, you can take blocks on either side of your legs. And if you're finding an easy time bringing your hands onto the ground, you can take your left hand to the outside of your right foot for an extra stretch. Again, the longer you hold each of these postures, the faster you're going to be able to get into that splits. Always keep a micro bend on that knee when you're doing hamstring stretches so we can help to release the hamstring. Let's walk the hands back through center. Find that low lunge once again. Keep that back knee down. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Maybe take a little back bend, open up. Let's interlace the hands behind the back, puff up the chest. And then slide that fist down the legs, open up. Nice. Let's inhale, bring the hands back down onto the ground. Tuck the back toes under. We're going to step that back foot up about a foot or so, straighten through the front leg and find pyramid pose. Great option to have those blocks on either side of your foot so you can keep your back nice and straight like Kate here. Think about pulling the right hip back, pushing that left hip forward. Use your exhales to sink deeper. Use your core to pull yourself a little closer. Let's take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, let's come back to that low lunge, slide that back leg out. We're going to plant the left hand to the inside of the right foot, reach the right arm up nice and high. Again, you can use that block if you'd like. And then grounding into that front leg, let's exalt our warrior. So that back arm is going to keep reaching back. The left arm is going to reach all the way up towards the sky. Now really reach through that left hand, lengthen through the left side of the body so you feel that stretch all the way down into the hip flexors. Maybe take a back bend with the upper body. Nice, and then let's come back up to standing. Straighten through that right leg. We're going to step that back foot up about a foot or so. My left hand, or her left hand, is going to plant to the inside of her right foot, and the right arm is going to reach up nice and high. Now really rotate with the torso here, really twist it open. Same thing, pull that right hip back, left hip forward. Open up that right shoulder, maybe gaze up. Breathe into the outer edge, or the outer thigh here. Beautiful, nice straight spine. And then let's go ahead. We're going to walk the hands over and find a Skandasana to the back of the mat. So walk the hands over to the left. Bend into that left knee. Bring the right toes up towards the sky. Sink it nice and low. Option to keep the hands on the ground. Since we're taking it nice and easy, let's just do that. Try to sink that left heel really far down in towards your mat. On your next inhale, let's find a warrior two. Bend into that front knee, back leg stays nice and straight. And on the inhale, we're going to straighten through that right leg. Reach the right fingertips forward and find Trikonasana triangle pose. Great stretch for that right inner thigh. Option to take that block so you can stay nice and lifted. Push the hips towards the back of your mat. Take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, wide leg forward fold. So bring both hands down. Relax the upper body down towards the ground. Feel that stretch in both inner thighs. And then when you're ready, let's walk the hands over to the front of the mat. Bring both hands to the inside of that right foot. Drop the left knee down onto the mat, untuck the left toes. Take the right hand on the right knee and start to twist yourself over towards the right. Push into that right knee, gaze over the right shoulder. And then maybe bend that back leg, reach back with the right hand and grab for that foot. Give it a little extra pull for that quad. One deep breath in. On the exhale, let's find half pigeon. We're going to take that right foot all the way over to the left. Drop the hips down, slide that left leg out, puff up the chest. And then exhale, let's fold here. Option to walk the hands out. Option to rest your head on a block. If your right hip is lifted off of the mat and there's space, you can fill that space with a block or a blanket. Yeah, nice. Hold here for as long as you possibly can. Not possibly, just a little long. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and remove any blocks that you have. We're going to walk up onto the hands. Bend the left leg, reach back with the left hand. Give yourself one last good quad stretch here. And then let's go ahead, release that left foot down, plant the hands. Let's find three-leg down dog, shoot that right leg up. Take whatever you need for your post-pigeon stretch. And then we'll go ahead, whenever you're ready, we'll come back into that downward facing dog. She threw me there with a wild thing. Let's lift that right leg nice and high. Step it in between your hands. And this is where we're going to come into our full split. So we're going to drop that left knee down and we're going to start to walk that right leg forward. Option here, and I highly recommend, you're going to take your blocks on whatever setting you need and you're just going to kind of see how Kate's just kind of scooching that right leg forward. Slowly work into it. Where you start is not going to be where you finish. So give your body time to release. And I cannot emphasize enough how using nice deep breaths will help you get a little bit closer. Also notice how Kate is pushing her left hip down towards the ground and her right toes are up towards the sky. And then if you can be all fancy like Kate, you can bow forward, bring the chest towards the thigh, but otherwise try to stay upright for that left hip flexor if you haven't gotten this deep yet. Nice. And then you can hold here as long as you'd like. And maybe after a while you can remove a block. So let's go ahead and we're going to come back in. Oh yeah, nice job, Kate. Sink it. We're here for 2 more deep breaths. At the end of your second exhale, taking your time to get there, we're going to start to peel that right leg back. Tuck the left toes under. Let's make our way back into our downward facing dog. And we're going to jump right into our second side. So let's lift that left leg up. Bend the left knee, open it up. Equal weight in each hand, and then let's take that foot, step it all the way in between the hands. Drop that right knee down, untuck the right toes, straighten through that left leg, half splits, left toes up towards the sky, find your blocks. Straight spine, and then fold. Hold here. If you walked your hands over to the opposite side, that's just going to get you a little bit deeper. Nice deep breaths. Remember to use that exhale. Let's walk our hands back through center. Bend into that left knee. Inhale, reach up, crescent moon. Keep that back knee down, hips going towards that left heel. Interlace the hands behind the back, puff up the chest. Nice back bend. Exhale, let's plant the hands on either side of that front foot. Step the right foot up. And let's find our pyramid pose. So my right toes are pointing towards the top right corner of my mat. My left hip is pulling backwards. Those blocks are there to help my back stay nice and straight. And then exhale, fold. Chest towards the thigh. Nice deep breaths. One more deep inhale. And then let's come into that low lunge. So let's walk that right foot back a little bit. We're going to plant the right hand to the inside of the left foot. The left arm is going to go up nice and high. Option to use those blocks. And then ground down into that left foot. Let's rise, exalted warrior. Reach up. Reach that right arm back. Really think about lengthening through the right side of the body, all the way from the quad to the hip flexor, up the right side of the body. On your exhale, let's start to straighten through that left leg. Reach the right hand forward, maybe step the right foot up about a foot or so. Turn the toes out again like we did in pyramid pose, and let's find our revolve triangle. So right hand plants, left arm reaches up. Think about pulling that left hip back, nice, lengthen through the spine, push through the crown of the head for 3. Skandasana to the back of the mat in 2. And 1, walk the hands all the way over to that right foot. Bend into that right knee. Sink it nice and low. Really feel that stretch in that left inner thigh. 1 more deep breath in. And then warrior 2 to the front of the mat. Bend into that left knee. We're only going to be here for just a moment, and then we're going to straighten through that left leg. Reach the left fingertips nice and long. And then find your Trikonasana triangle pose. Think about pulling that left shoulder open. Your body is in between 2 pieces of glass. It's very narrow, I think is the thing I'm trying to say. And then let's go ahead and find a wide leg forward fold. So all 10 toes point to the right. Relax the upper body down. Grab for the outside of your feet here and use your upper body to pull you a little closer towards the ground. Nice. On your next inhale, let's halfway lift. Walk it to the front of the mat. Find that low lunge. We're going to drop the right knee down, untuck the right toes, and we're going to find crooked monkey. So the left hand is going to come on the left knee. Gently gaze over the left shoulder here, and then if you did so on the other side, you're going to grab for that inside of that right foot. Take nice deep breaths. And then half pigeon. Go ahead, release that back foot. Take the left foot all the way over to the right wrist. Drop the left knee behind the left wrist. Slide that right leg out nice and long. Puff up the chest and then exhale into your sleepy pigeon. If you had blocks on the other side, maybe you do need them on this side, maybe you don't. Try to make it as balanced as you can, but obviously you're always going to have something that's a little different. You really want to feel this in that left hip area, our piriformis, our glutes. And really try to think about exhaling and melting that belly down. Nice. Let's start to walk up onto the hands. Bend the right leg. Reach back for the inside of the right foot with that right hand. Take a little mermaid stretch. Open up, back bend, gaze up. And then exhale. Let's plant the hands. Tuck the right toes under. Lift the left leg nice and high, 3-leg down dog, and we're coming in for our split. So bring that left foot all the way in between the the hands, plural, and drop the right knee down, untuck the right toes, and then straighten that left leg. Maybe you need to slide the right leg out. Use your blocks here to lower down. And again, use those blocks. It's important that you can sit upright so you can have a little bit more relaxation when you're in it. The more comfortable you feel, the easier it'll be to hold it for longer periods of time, the faster you'll get the splits. Same thing here. She's peeling that right hip down towards the ground a little bit. And maybe after a few deep breaths and a few minutes of warming up, you find that you can get a little bit deeper into your splits. So again, these are all great postures to help you get into your splits. I recommend doing them every day and holding them for a couple minutes. If you can, think about it like a yin style class. Kate, you can start to come out of that split. That is it for us yogis. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste.